I have a few errands to run in Cromwell, Connecticut today, so I think I'm going to swing by Habitat for Humanity Restore. Let's see if they have anything good today. This sideboard's really interesting. Looks like there's a little bit of damage on it. This is, $300. Wow, there's lots here today. These stools have such a cool retro look. If you have the right spot in your house for these, they could be very impactful. Wondering what the price is. There's two of them here, $25 each. My father-in-law has a chair just like this, and Eric swears it's one of the most comfortable chairs he's ever sat in. This is a cutie pie. I wish the finish was a little bit darker. It's only $50, which is not bad. It needs a little bit of love, but nothing too ambitious. Looking inside, I'm not seeing any kind of sticker or anything to tip off the maker, but I really like it. This is such a great two-tiered table. This would be a wonderful project for somebody. Only $20. I'm not personally looking for a project, but yeah, this one could be really, really good for the right person. These tables are also really cool and retro. They were from Ethan Allen originally, apparently, and I think it's $50. It's hard to read the sticker. There's a few of them here. I love this Empire dresser with the mirror. It's so beautiful. Of course, Empire always has damage on the veneer, but look at the lion poles. Oh my gosh. This guy is handsome. $350. These Corning dishes are so pretty for the spring. Don't you love the pink flowers on these? Oh my gosh, I'm so in the mood for all of these colors. This is a beautiful tureen, $20 for this. I'm wondering where this was made or who made this. Let's flip it over and see. This is Maddox Lamberton Works. I think that was made in England. This is a great set. It makes me think of like the late 80s, early 90s. This is Dansk, made in Portugal. I think it has a great look. This is such a big set, $100 for all of these pieces. There are so many, and this is another pattern that is so very perfect for the spring. I'm wondering who made it. Let's see. This was made in Japan. There really is a lot here. We've got some more pretty dishes. Nice pink roses on these. Made in Bavaria. Oh boy, this picture is huge and it's a lot of look. There's a lot of wall art here today. There's nothing really spectacular. I do like this piece. It's very faded, but it's really, really sweet. These mirrors are awesome, but the back has this very cheap plastic. $10 each. I don't know, this one was hard, but I decided to leave them. I really think that Habitat for Humanity should keep their pets off the furniture, although this guy is rather well behaved. That was a fun stop, but it's definitely time to head home. I enjoyed going through Habitat for Humanity Restore in Cromwell, but I didn't ultimately find anything, and that happens sometimes. I find that Restore is always interesting. They always have furniture. I'm very rarely in the market for furniture. I'm pretty full up in that department. The prices tend to be a little bit high for resale. However, I have found one or two things there in the past, so if I'm in the neighborhood, no harm in stopping. It's not a place I go out of my way for, but if I'm in the neighborhood, doesn't hurt to check. Now, that means I don't have a haul for you from that store, but I do have quite a significant haul for you from a few months ago. So I alluded to this in my last video, I believe, but in December, I had the opportunity to go through my friend's aunt's estate. She had been deceased for close to 10 years. The family had never dealt with her estate. They were finally dealing with it. And my friend Rose, who knows I resell antiques and vintage items, called me and let me go through it. And it was amazing. So I'm gonna show you that footage. Please bear in mind, you're gonna see some Christmas decor in the background because this was taken a few months ago. It's some really good stuff. I'm also gonna let you know that in the video, I talk a little bit about, where should I sell this or that. Most of the things are gonna end up on an online estate sale that I'm gonna start working on next week. And I'll fill you in on all those details as I get further along in that progress. But if you hear me talking about it's going on eBay, it's going to my booth space, spoiler alert, most of it is going on to the estate sale, the online estate sale. That said, if there's anything that you're interested in and you want to contact me, I always include my email in the video description, and it's also on my general YouTube page. So don't hesitate to reach out if you want to pick something up. I'm always open to it, especially if you can pick up. So that's enough babbling for me. Let's get to the footage. Okay, so I'm just gonna get right into it, and I can't even put everything out on the table as I usually would, so I can show you each piece. There's too much to do that with. So I'm just gonna show you stuff as I find it, starting with two paintings that I thought had a really interesting look. These are hand done. So here they are, first of all, two paintings. And now I'll give you a close up. So these are, again, hand painted, really interesting ornate frames on these. They're a nice size. That's one. And here is the other. Nice reddish colors here. I think these are roses. Yes, these are roses. Really pretty ornate frames. So I thought those were fun. I will probably bring those to my booth space at some point. Then I'm going to show you, I have to tell you, full disclosure, when I brought this next grouping of things together, they were in really rough shape. I mean, certainly definitely had potential and were vintage and interesting, but arguably too beaten up to take home until Eric got his paws on them and transformed them and made them shiny and new again. And as an added bonus, found a plug that fit, which it didn't have a plug with it. So that was a really lucky find. So here is this amazing coffee percolator set. I think this has a real Art Deco look. And it's got an open sugar and a creamer. It comes with this fabulous tray. And look at the handles on these. I think they might be Bakelite, I'm not sure. And let me find the maker. We had already looked at that, but I don't remember. Let's see. Oh, here it is. So this was made by Foreman Brothers in New York. So again, here's a nice close up at the coffee percolator and urn. I also want to show you this really pretty collection. This is very nice. And actually, I have to think about whether I should even maybe keep this. I'm going to show it to you this way. Oops, it's a collection of what I'm thinking are silver-plated spoons and forks and things. I could use little spoons for my salt cellars, although I'm not sure if these are even a little big for that. But these are really pretty. They have a nice ornate pattern. Let me show you one of the forks so you can get a pretty good sense. Obviously, this is very tarnished, but you can still get a sense of it. And this was all made, it looks like it says MEI. And I'm not seeing anything else on the box that would tip me off. Now, not really sure, but a very handy little collection. I picked out this collection of knives. So this is Regent Sheffield, the greatest name in cutlery. Well, aren't they all full of themselves? Anyway, I decided to pick this up because it looked so nice and complete and had a vintagey quality to it that of course appealed to me. I picked up this paperweight. Is this called Millefiore? I think that's what it's called. What is baffling me though is, do you see this funny like rainbow effect, or I don't know, like a little ledge in the piece? Do you think that that is like some kind of manufacturing error or damage, or do you think that's supposed to be there like that? I would love to know. Eric and I are feeling a little bit baffled about that particular quality. Let me know what you think in the comments, but I thought this was lovely. Then there is this very cute set, this little tea set or coffee set, I'm not sure. There's two of these pots that look exactly the same to me. And then there's 3 teacups. Actually, nope, there's 2 teacups and a saucer, but it's possible that I put the rest of this set away somewhere else because there's so many pieces. Here's a little covered sugar and a creamer. They have this sweet little scene on them. And that is the back stamp, so it doesn't tell us too much. And then similarly, I have this little gold set, excuse the debris in the background. So again, a little coffee pot, I think. Oh, the dogs are making a mess, with a covered sugar and a creamer and some little cups and saucers, again, with the little people on them. This has a little insignia of some kind on the bottom. Let's see if I can find out more from this. So I think that says made in Italy, but that's all I know. This particular family spent a great deal of time in Italy. They were Italian and went back and forth many, many times for business purposes. And so they picked up lots of things on their various trips. Here are 2, I think these are pewter goblets. They have interesting scenes on them. And there's the back. So this says something, but I'm not sure what. No, I can't tell. But they have kind of an interesting quality. Yeah, I live in a crazy house. So I picked up those, and then, oh, this one's actually a little bit different. A little bit of a different scene on this one. So very interesting. And then this little covered, looks like a covered sugar, which is very, very pretty. Look at the design on that. I like that very much. And I don't know what that says, but it's some kind of porcelain, and it's certainly very pretty. This set is so fascinating to me. I barely even knew what to make of it when I first saw it. As you can see, it's got, I guess, a creamer and a sugar, and it's on this porcelain base with a handle, a metal handle. And then it has these individual cups and saucers. So here's a look at one of the cups. Here is the saucer. I'm not sure I even have that turned the correct way, to be honest. And then, yeah, here's what I think is a covered sugar. There's the covered creamer. One cup is very badly damaged. So this guy. Oh, and look at even the medallion in the middle. So this is a lot of look. And originally when my friend asked me if I wanted this, I almost said no, just because it's so big. But I said yes, and I'm so glad I did, because this is Capodimonte, made in Italy. Now, I don't know a lot about Capodimonte, but I have heard it spoken about when I've watched the Antiques Nomad, who of course knows everything about everything. So I figured, let's take this home and find out more about it. And I'm so glad I did. I did a little bit of research on Capodimonte porcelain, and here's what I learned. In 1743, King Charles of Naples, who was inspired by Meissen porcelain, decided to make equally beautiful pieces in Italy. He converted his hunting lodge into a porcelain factory. It was set on a hill and soon became known as Capodimonte, which means top of the mountain. Capodimonte was and is still considered to be the most important factory for early Italian porcelain.
It produced a beautiful translucent soft paste that resulted in a lustrous glaze. Capodimonte became renowned for its molded figurines, although they made tableware, snuff boxes, and other goods as well. Charles, who apparently had allergies to real flowers, particularly loved the delicate floral arrangements made in porcelain that he could enjoy all year long without sneezing. The factory moved to Madrid after King Charles inherited the Spanish throne, but his son Ferdinand founded a new royal factory which operated from 1771 until 1806. This is generally known as Naples porcelain. The factory fell into disrepair and closed shortly after Ferdinand was ousted from the throne by Napoleon. Since then, a number of other factories in Italy and other countries have used the name Capodimonte, typically producing Victorian-inspired versions of the earlier forms. These include large ornate vases and figurines often wearing 18th century dress. Baskets of flowers made in porcelain have remained popular, as are pieces in open work spaghetto. My big takeaway is that much of the Capodimonte we tend to find today refers to a style inspired by the fine early Italian porcelain from long ago, but made by a range of factories and with variations in quality, collectability, and value. Original items from King Charles and Ferdinand command sky-high prices when they come up for sale, but you can still find high-quality, finely made pieces in a middle price range today. Equally, it's important to steer clear of poorly made copies that carry little to no value. Before buying a piece of Capodimonte, you'll want to carefully inspect it for indicators of quality and beauty. I hope you found this information interesting. I know I did.
This beautiful bouquet of flowers is also Capodimonte. It's so detailed. There is the manufacturer mark. Do you see it? And this is really lovely. Unfortunately, there is one chip on this. Let me see if I can hold this without breaking it. There is a chip in the bow, you see right there on the left-hand side. Other than that, it's in fabulous condition, and I think this is really spectacular. Look at all of the detail. I have it up here on top of the Limoges cabinet. It doesn't match my holiday decor, but I wanted to keep it safe, and this seemed like the safest place for it. This is also Capodimonte. Look at how beautiful this little figurine is with the baby and the dog. Look at the facial features. This is so precious, in my opinion. Look at the detail on this piece. You can see the baby's little hiney. I thought this was absolutely precious. And again, it's up here on a shelf in my dining room so it doesn't get murdered by wayward kitties. I picked up this huge vanity set. This is really detailed. Look at all of the filigree in this. Here's the brush. And here is the mirror. This is such a very large mirror. This would really make a statement on somebody's bureau. And again, I almost didn't pick it up because it was so big. I wasn't sure how to properly store this, but then I decided to make that a tomorrow problem, with today being tomorrow, I guess. There's the bottom. There's no manufacturer mark that I can see, but this is really a beauty and quite heavy. Okay, you're stuck with me again. And then I have this huge decorative Capodimonte plate. Look at the detail in this. This is an incredible piece. I'm going to stand up so I can make sure you're getting the full effect. I just washed it, so if you're seeing any water droplets, that's why. It was pretty dirty. It's still not perfect, but it's better than it was. Can you believe all of the detail on this piece? It's really something. Here is the back stamp I have never seen so much Capodimonte in my life, but obviously my friend's aunt-in-law was a big collector of it. And again, this plate is massive. So this is really a wall display piece. Very interesting. Don't ask me how I'm storing this, and don't ask me how I'm shipping this, and don't ask me what I'm even doing with this, because I do not know. So there's that. Now, let me show you a few different kinds of things just to break it up a little. So I apologize for all of the tap dancing in the background. It was Licorice for a while, and now it's definitely Wilson. So you can see this big vintage box, right? It's got a definite kind of 70s-ish look. Well, when I open it up, I find a bit of a treasure trove of old vintage bags. So I'll hold up a few of them for you so you get a sense. Some of them are older than others. This one is really pretty neat. Oops. It's got all of this fun beaded work and the chain strap. This one is great. Look at this guy. Again, nice beaded bag, the little clasp and the chain strap. Here is a silver one. There's a lot of look happening here. Then we have a little cloth travel bag for accessories and things. I have one of these myself, and I have to say, the old vintage jewelry bags, the little jewelry cases, work so much better than anything modern I have ever found. I think mine is from the 1940s, and I use it all the time. Here's another really interesting one. Look at all of the detail. Indy right now, do you see the back of his head? Indy wants to pounce on that. There's this one that's still in its plastic cover. And then I think this one is probably my favorite, with all of the black beaded work. So a whole big collection of vintage bags that I shall do something with. I will sell them. I do plan to sell them. I just have to figure out the best way to do that. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is this beautiful vase. Isn't that stunning? So I love this. I'm going to keep this, I think. I think my friend said that her aunt-in-law picked this up in Poland. I think that's what she said. It's really, really lovely. So one of the few things I'm keeping. And I was excited to find it. This is really interesting. Check out these figures in porcelain. They are so interesting. Look at all of the detail in the dress and the shoes. Even the back is painted and designed. I think that is really fabulous. Little courtly scene there. This has an N on the back. So here is the back stamp. And I think that's a very interesting little find. So I picked that up. Here is a vase. I don't know that this is anything special. I think this was just made in Japan or China or something. Has kind of a 1980s quality if you ask me. But I picked that up. Got this interesting collection. This looks like Delft, but it's not marked Delft that I can see. But they're little fondue forks, and they certainly look like Delft windmills, like Delft handles. But I don't know if that's the case. I would think it would be marked that way if it was. I have this very elaborate spoon in a box. It even has its original lid. So you can see all of the detail. You see the little animals in here. So this is quite an elaborate guy. So I picked it up along with this interesting knife. This is so interesting. Okay, so you can see it has like its sheath. You can see it's got animals on it. could probably do a little damage. This still has its original like oil or grease or whatever for the blade. And it says Belver, maybe like made in Argentina, I think. I am not sure. I am not looking to harm myself or anyone else, so let's put this away. I just thought it was really interesting and worth taking home to find out a little bit more about it. So that came home with me, along with just this little covered box. This looks like a little souvenir piece. Oh, the cover isn't even coming off right now, but I don't know. I just picked that up. And then I picked up this little inlaid box as well that I thought was kind of interesting. This opens up. Oh, I guess little lacquered inlay box, right? That seems like a good name for it. Now I think I'm gonna take you back to the table. So hang on.
So I bought this little clear glass covered sugar and creamer set, and it has this little tray. I don't know if the little tray is original to it. It might not be, not really sure. But this says Shannon Crystal Designs of Ireland, although I think this says also that it was made in Slovakia. Not sure. I don't usually pick up clear glass. It's a tough seller, but because it had its original tag, I thought it was worth a try. So I grabbed that. This is just a pretty vase. I don't think there was a maker mark on this, but I liked the flowers on it. Yeah, no maker mark, but I thought that could be cute maybe for the store. Here's a little silver plated bowl with a lid and a little sugar. That's really cute, and I bet that would shine up beautifully. It's a really pretty base as well. And then this is a very pretty Lenox bowl with little perforations. Here is the back stamp on this. Lovely little piece. Here is a covered bowl. There's the design and the lid. Let me show you the back stamp on this. This one needs a little bit of a clean. This is Summertime, Staffordshire, England. So I grabbed that. Then I found this bowl. It also really needs a wash. This is Treasure Craft, made in USA, with a matching underplate. Just says USA, so I need to give that a little wash. The house was very clean, but nobody had been there, living there for so long, things get dusty. And I thought this little glass bowl with a bird was absolutely adorable, and I love the feet on this piece. Very pretty. I saw a piece like this at Goodwill ages ago. I didn't buy it, I regretted it. And now I have it. Look at how that all worked out. Continuing, I have this little teapot. It has a lot of crazing and staining on the bottom. This is, what does that say? Arthur Wood, made in England. On the rough side, but I figured I'd take him home. Here we have a little Fire King covered casserole. I don't usually buy these. They don't sell that well. Here's the back. There it is. However, I don't often find them with their lid. And because it had its lid, I took it home. I have this pretty picture with the flower designs. It's got a little bit of like a speckled detail. No maker mark there, but again, I thought it might be pretty for the store. Here is a lovely, I think this might be a coffee pot. This one's really pretty. This is made in Bavaria, Lady Claire Mitterreich. And it has a matching covered vegetable server, I guess, with handles in very nice condition. Very pretty piece. And then this lovely teapot with the blue flowers and gold accents. Oops, I don't know if is that a teapot or a coffee? I'm not even sure. This was made in Russia. So exotic. I love the colors on that. I picked up this decanter. This has a great mid-century modern look, I thought. And it looks like its original topper is still here. So that nice kind of classic black and gold design. And then it came with the collection of these glasses. And I don't think these are a match set. There's nothing about them that's looking cohesive to me in a matched set kind of way. But there's a whole grouping of these glasses as well. So I've just laid out a whole big collection of vintage textiles, including these little handkerchiefs. They're so thin and translucent. And then this tablecloth, the very bright pink flowers. That is very cheerful. We have this big guy with the inlet lace and more pink flowers. This one needs a good wash, but again, very vibrant and cheerful. This is a little pink one. We've got more of these nice bright patterns. I think this is maybe a piano shawl. I'm thinking that because of the long fringe on this. And this certainly looks handmade. I don't know if it is or isn't, but that's how it strikes me. Here are the last few things I'm going to show you. I know this was a big haul. Sorry, friends, if I have really stretched your patience. This is really incredible. It's some kind of fur or hide. This is really beautiful. I think this will probably go on eBay. I've got this runner. Actually, it's two runners, I think. They're very old and kind of raised up and retro. This bedspread is very fabulous. It's not chenille, but it's raised up. It's textural in such an interesting way. I like the color. Here is, I don't know if this is meant to be a scarf or a runner. It looks handmade. I'm not sure if it is. Here's a pretty shawl with fringe and another lovely tablecloth. And friends, there's even more. There's more tablecloths. There's more textiles. If I showed them all, we'd be here until the end of time, which perhaps we've already hit that mark. But I did want to show you as much as I could from this very interesting estate. I'm so grateful to have had a chance to pick through it. It was quite a haul.
It's been over 3 months since I picked up all of those interesting things. And so you might be wondering, what did I decide to keep from all of that stuff? Let me show you.
So I showed this pretty Capodimonte bouquet in a previous video, but I did decide to keep this because I think it's so lovely. Eric really likes this as well. So this has been a nice addition to our own collections. I also decided to keep the beautiful vase, as I had mentioned I would in the footage. And I think that's really lovely. It also looks really pretty with this little vase that somebody brought back to me from Vienna. So it's sentimental. And as I said in a previous video, I decided to keep this lovely little figurine. I think this is so adorable. There's the little back stamp on it. So anyway, keeping that. You may remember the hairbrush set that I showed you, and weirdly, I decided to use the tray it was on as a centerpiece in my table because I thought it was so beautiful. So this is actually on my dining room table. I like that it reflects up light, and I think it's really, really pretty. So even though that's a little bit of a twist on its original intent, I do think it's beautiful here. And of course, I'm gonna keep the brush and comb safe, or the brush and mirror, I don't even remember now. I'll keep them safe. I won't toss them or anything, because someday I may decide to sell this and keep it as its original set. But for now, I think it's really pretty on my dining room table. I decided to keep these figurines. I was not originally intending to, but friends, they have really grown on me. And I kind of like the way they look here. So they remind me of the court of Louis XVI for some reason. And the back stamp makes me think this might be Capodimonte, but I'm not entirely sure. Regardless, I think it looks pretty here. I enjoy seeing it each day, so here it shall remain. I ultimately decided to keep this paperweight because I really like it. I think it looks nice on my desk here in the study. I still don't know what this thing is. I am really hoping a viewer is going to be able to explain it to me. Seems like viewers have an awful lot of collective expertise on a wide range of topics, which makes me feel so lucky that I can ask these kinds of questions with the hope of getting an answer. But whatever that is, I really do like this. I think it looks nice on my desk. This is the worst part of the video. This happened just the other day. My Ryobi, here's the charger, my little handheld vacuum, my cordless vacuum, fell. It was upright and it just fell over for a reason I can't discern. And of course, it fell right into the Capodimonte tray, which is now broken into a million pieces. I'm going to take this off so we can see the full scope of the damage. Yikes. So this guy is in a million pieces, and look at these tiny little shards of glass. That means this really cannot be repaired in any way. Fortunately, the little pieces that went on top of it, so the cups and saucers, the little creamer and sugar, all of that stuff was packed away separately. So even though I lost the tray, other pieces still exist, so I will sell those. But oh, what a shame. You know, and this is my own fault. It was stored in my laundry room for too long. My laundry room is a busy working space, and sometimes stuff like this unfortunately happens. Note to self, store with more care. I thought you might appreciate a little Indian iris sighting. Oh, their eyes are coming up a little pink in this footage. It's dark in this room today because it's so dark and dreary outside. But the kitties don't mind it. They continue doing their little snuggle routine, regardless of the weather. Iris is having a nice little groom. And Indy's just kind of chilling. He looks so cute. And here is Licorice with her toy and another toy. There's never enough toys for this girl. She likes to have a nice big pile around her whenever possible. And she's just hanging out. She's such a good girl. I haven't shown Wilson in a while. He's often not in the same room as the others. And for that reason, I sometimes omit to show his handsome face. So here he is, and boy, do I need to vacuum today. Oh my goodness. I will put it on the list. Just a quick update on the trellises. Yesterday, I got out my rose gloves. I did a whole bunch of pruning after watching a lot of YouTube videos, and I started to train up the climbing roses according to those videos. Eric helped me as well. I think we did it right. I didn't film it because I didn't really know what I was doing with enough confidence to show it. But I guess we'll find out when everything starts to bloom, hopefully in the next coming weeks.
So that's what I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like, please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a fabulous day, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.